Cinemajaw is brought to you by Know Your Company. Have you got 25 to 75 people in your company? Then check out knowyourcompany.com. It's software that helps companies like Airbnb know their company better. And we thank them for their support. You're listening to Cinemajaw, the greatest movies podcast ever, recorded on Division Street in Chicago. My name is Matt Kay, and with me is
Rye the Movie Guy. And sitting alongside us, as always, is our engineer and local filmmaker, Elias Rodriguez.
How's it going, Jawheads?
This week on Cinemajaw, Matt, we get our girl power cranked up to 10.
Hell yeah.
As we cover our top 5 favorite girl power films.
This is long overdue. I'm happy about this.
This is. I know we've done some like strong female characters before.
We did Best Female Villains.
We've done chick flicks way back.
That was year 1.
Yeah.
Yeah, very early. In fact, probably the first 15 episodes, I believe.
Yeah, that was early on. But we never did girl power films. And it really seems, especially in the last few years, it's all the rage, and I'm happy for it.
I am as well. We're going to be kicking ourselves when Wonder Woman comes out, and we're trying to think of a good topic. But nevertheless, I think with everything that's out right now, especially the reviews we have, this is perfect. And the guests, frankly.
Yeah, we do have some great guests joining us.
We do. We have Phil Hughes and Jenn Daugherty, and they're filmmakers. We met them at the Chicago Comedy Film Festival. And
yeah, they got an awesome movie that we were able to check out, The Merry Maids of Madness.
Yeah, very cool.
Which is a little twist, I guess, on Shakespeare.
Yes, but it's the women of Shakespeare.
Right.
Yeah. So
see how this ties into girl power,
It
Matt?
all's coming together.
It sure does. Besides that, we have a jam-packed jaw, don't we, Elias?
Yes, we are going eye for an eye on 20th century women.
And we have reviews of Passengers and Hidden Figures.
Nice. Plus, we are coming to the end, Matt, of 2016, and I know the next podcast we record will be our top 10 of 2016. But before we get there, I thought it would be fun to look at the flops of the past year. You will be taking Jenn and Phil on in 2016 flop movie trivia.
Oh, okay. This is a hard topic because I never see the flops.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
So it's always a fun one to do. That's why it's a good trivia, right?
I think so.
Yeah. Plus, Matt, we have the last riddle winner of the year.
Oh.
The riddles have been very popular.
This is a landmark.
We brought this segment back, and we are going to continue it on in 2017 to refresh the Jawheads. The last riddle was,
I have played a caddy and a boxer. I have fought robots in a movie that also had Shia LaBeouf in it. I have starred in one M. Night Shyamalan film and just last year played a con man. Who am I?
Nice. During the break, when we open up the jaw box and we have a feedback segment, we are going to announce the winner of the last riddle of 2016, and then we'll bring it back next year. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Also, interesting enough, because we have Jenn and Phil on, who, again, have directed the film The Merry Maids of Madness, which I just mentioned, and we will talk to them about it, has something to do with the women of Shakespeare.
Mm-hmm.
Got me thinking, right?
Yeah, oh no, I hate it when you think.
It's a scary thing, but it got me thinking that the best film adaptation, or at least the best take on Shakespeare that I've seen on the big screen is an easy call for me. When I come down to it.
Yeah, me too, man.
There's one that once you say Shakespeare, everybody thinks of the same exact movie.
Oh, I agree.
You totally agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's
Romeo
Shakespeare.
and Juliet.
No, it's Shakespeare in
Romeo
Love.
and Juliet.
Matt,
1996, Baz Luhrmann.
That garbage?
Yes.
No, I'm talking about the
No,
Oscar
it's not
winner.
garbage.
Oh, you're
Oscar
garbage.
winner. CinemaWAR.
Ooh, they are going to have their hands full judging that one.
I agree.
Wow. As always, Matt, we bring 2016 to a close with a jam-packed jaw. So without further ado, we bring in our guests. They are joining us from Los Angeles. Phil Hughes, Jenn Daugherty. They are the directors and writers and stars of The Merry Maids of Madness. Guys, welcome to Cinemajaw.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. As Matt alluded to at the very top, we actually had the chance to meet you guys at the Chicago Comedy Film Festival. And as I just mentioned, you guys are out in Los Angeles. So how did that come about as you guys applied for film festivals? Did you go all around the country applying this film to them? And how excited were you to get into the Chicago Comedy Film Fest?
Yeah, we applied to
basically we tried to apply to as many festivals that we thought we could actually go to, because that was kind of a key thing for us, is to really interact with an audience and build it from there. And then, you know, one of the things we've really seen is films that are straight comedy have a harder time finding a place in some festivals. So when we found like a great comedy film festival in the heartland of comedy, Chicago, we're like, oh yes, I think Jen found it. She's like, we're applying to this one.
Yeah.
And so we were stoked we got in. And plus for us, it's the first time we've been to Chicago. So
That was great.
How'd you enjoy the stay?
Oh my gosh, it's so cool. I love the city.
We were there too short. We had so much that we wanted to see.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we were only there for about 3 days, but just the city, like the energy there, it's just such a cool place.
Was this your first time to Chicago, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. Well, I mean, I have to ask, just do the tourist thing for a quick second. What did you get out to see?
We saw the Art Institute. That was basically most of our Saturday, I think, and ate some different various pizzas.
And then
well
walked
done.
around the city. Yeah.
Yeah.
We can debate.
Yeah,
we can debate pizza between New York and Chicago, but really you can't debate it between L.A. and anywhere, because I think you guys are just, you know, movies you have in spades, pizza not so much.
Nah.
Well, I'm glad you had fun, Chicago. Turning it back to film, my question was, it's such a unique concept with this movie. It's sort of one woman's experience sort of locked up in this mental institution, for lack of a better term, but all the characters she interacts with are based, at least somewhat loosely, on Shakespeare characters.
So how did that come to be?
Well, I grew up doing theater, and when you grow up doing theater, Shakespeare is kind of the Bible that you go by, that has all of the characters that you're going to play as you learn how to act and write. And so another thing I discovered as I got older was a lot of the re-envisionings for Shakespeare really don't give a lot of time for the women to play. And so it's been rolling around in my brain for like the last 5 years. I'm sure Phil was very happy that we finally made this movie, because I finally stopped talking about it. But I wanted all the women from Shakespeare to have a chance to all play together, because they're such strong characters. But many times they just, they're foils to the men. And I wanted them to be able to play on their own. So I put them all in a mental institution and let them go. And so that's where that came from.
It was such a great idea, and I even commented when we were doing the Q&A how impressed I was that when you see these independent films, you don't see them with such a large cast, and you guys had this amazingly large cast and so talented. So if you could tell the listeners a little bit about how you came to do the casting.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, Jen and I first met doing sketch comedy. And so we'd been doing it for a long time, and we haven't been performing for a while now, but we still, a lot of times we pull from that same pool for different projects. And so when we were starting to come up with this, we knew, because it was going to be independently financed and not for a ton of money, we had to work with people who were going to be game for like the vision and who were quality. And so once we kind of had a few of our key people in, Jen started to tailor the roles to what they did the best, so that we would get the best out of them as possible. And we kind of went from there, you know, and there's several ones that we did audition for, but for a lot of it was kind of a stable of people we've acted and written with for years.
And on top of that, we were really lucky because we're from Albuquerque, New Mexico, and New Mexico has a lot of films coming in right now. So we were able to pull from a group of people who have had a lot of on-set experience and are, you know, working actors for like shows like Breaking Bad and stuff like that. So that helped us a lot.
Yeah, that's a leg up for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. And how long did the whole process take shooting-wise?
We shot it actually in 15 days.
Wow, nice.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tight schedule.
It was. Yeah, it was. I mean, it only worked because we were in the one location.
Sure.
It's like that's when we knew that. It's like the only way you can make a schedule like that really work, especially with that kind of cast, is we have one location. Our terrific DP, Corey Weintraub, is really fast. So he's very good, but he's very fast. And that is essential. And then on certain days when we had like the big cast for big scenes, we actually had such a great indie film community that we had extra DPs come in. And so for a couple of scenes, we had 3 cameras going. It was the only way we could manage those scenes in a timely fashion.
With 25 actors.
Oh, man.
Now, we mentioned this brilliant concept, but I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper and talk about which actual characters, because some people may not be as familiar with Shakespeare as you guys are, myself included. Which of the specific Shakespearean women are portrayed through the characters in this film?
Well, it's with it being an ensemble, we chose 6 to focus on. The leader is Beatrice from Much Ado About Nothing. The character of Titania is in it, but she's put in as kind of an Arrested Development character who still believes in fairies. We have Juliet, who's Julie in this, who's the escape artist of the ward. We have Kate from Taming of the Shrew, and
Helen.
And Helen from A Midsummer Night's Dream, who is kind of like the unwanted lover. And then we have we have so many girls.
So many.
Ophelia from Hamlet, and then also Viola from Twelfth Night.
Yeah.
And they all worked so well together. You know, going back to the casting, you were talking about how you got this talented cast, but I think another thing is the chemistry that everybody had. It's not just that the acting was so good, but in those group sessions when all the girls are sitting around, it's really absolutely hilarious. I don't know how you guys pulled that quite off.
No, I mean, like, we were very thankful is that some of them knew each other, some didn't, but they all had theater backgrounds for the most part, and so they were game. We rehearsed beforehand, and I mean, honestly, sometimes you just have to roll the dice, and we were lucky. It was the best filming experience I've ever had on a set because everyone was so in line together.
Yeah, it worked really well together. Like, people came every morning. They actually said they were like, we're having such a good time, and I think that just shows on the screen. So it was hard and it was fast, but it was fun.
But we respected everyone's time and what they needed to do, and and worked hard to never abuse our actor or our crew's time. And I think that goes a long way to getting the best results.
Yeah.
And I want to compliment you guys on the actual hilarity of this film. It should be noted how extremely funny it is. Like there's a moment toward the beginning of the movie where one woman is screaming about how Jimmy Stewart has no anus.
I love that part.
Yeah, and she's there's a very specific number of times that she, screams it. And I believe the main character, Beatrice, is talking about the routine of her everyday experience at the mental institution. It's just like every day she does this 40 times, and you have like an on-screen counter that goes up to 39, and then there's a pause, and the two characters look at each other waiting for that 40th. It was just a beat, but it was so brilliant. It added to what could have been. Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think the whole film is filled with these little treasures. So kudos to you guys on the writing. It's very well executed.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we have a real fun. We try to have like whimsical fun in our films because we feel like there's not a lot of it right now in what's being made. So we're kind of. But that's just what makes us happy.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it's just what makes us giggle, and so it's just like having a good time. I want the audience to have a good time with us.
Yeah. How much of that is on the page, and how much of that like comes up on set?
I would say there wasn't a lot of time. We wanted time for improvisation, but there just with the short schedule.
Sure.
I mean, there are some doozies in there that the actors came up with, and they make me giggle every single time. But a lot of it was on the page.
Well, and part of it is also because we're working together a lot, is she would start to come up with something, and then I would talk about it visually and say, oh, what do we do like this? And then that would kind of be incorporated into it. And so, I mean, when it comes to a lot of the visual humor falls on my shoulders, but all the character and most of the funny is all on her. She's way funnier than I am.
Well, it sounds like you guys make a good team, man. So kudos. I like the sight gags quite a bit. So good job.
Yeah, I will say Julie, who was played by Maddie Frost, she brought a lot to that character. When she showed up on the first day, we just there was no direction needed. She based that character off of, I think, her 4-year-old cousin.
Yeah, something like that.
and she was just great. So
That's great. And something we didn't mention to the listeners is, Jenn, you wrote it, but you also star as Beatrice in the film, so it should be noted. Was that difficult, Phil, directing Jenn in any way?
No, because I'm heartless, and we need to have a relationship when we're on set.
yeah.
So, I mean, but it's usually not a problem because we've worked together now for quite a long time that I don't know. I mean, we've shot a scene where someone else has kissed her that I directed, and it just like when you're just focused on trying to make the best thing possible, that kind of stuff just doesn't get in the way.
Yeah, it's just the work. So.
Although there'd be occasional times where she'd be like, why aren't we cutting this? And I'd be like, no, we got it. And she's like, I don't know.
Good stuff. Now, one thing that I wonder about, and you always, as we go to these festivals, and we have quite a bit of festivals in Chicago, so we're lucky that way, is we get to see these films. But I wonder, for the listeners listening here, where are they going to be able to check out the Merry Maids of Madness?
Well, we're still working to secure our distribution platform. Worst case scenario, it'll be on like pay Vimeo.
Okay.
But right now we have a representative who's working with that, and so we imagine it'll get out there. And basically, we do have a mailing list at our website, merrymaidsofmadness.com, that people sign up for that, they'll be able to know like when it becomes publicly available. But also we've had like film societies start to reach out to us for screenings. And so that's another way that could happen, because we're always game to show it to film lovers.
Yeah.
Sure. And the other question I had, as far as the festivals go, I mean, how great is that? I mean, you put all that work into it to be able to go to a fest and see it with an audience. Are you shocked at some of the parts that they laugh at? All that kind of good stuff, seeing it with a crowd?
Oh, yeah. It's always funny when, you hand it over to the audience, because then it's not yours anymore. And they deal with it how they will. And it's, was there any moments in this that we really didn't see the laugh happening?
No, I don't know. It's like the variety of laugh is always different. Like, it's different crowds have definitely gone bananas for different things, and it's always amusing to see what really tickles them. I mean, there's a couple that land hard every time,
Mm-hmm.
and then other ones are a little more taster's choice with how people respond to it.
Yeah, my favorite thing is that whenever people have gone to go see it, they always have a different girl who is their favorite from the film. So that's super fun to hear how people interact with the different characters. So.
Sure. And that's a tribute to how well cast it is, right?
Yeah, no, they're wonderful.
Yeah.
I love our group of actors.
No, we were very, I mean, it sounds trite, but we were actually very lucky, to have them and have it go as well as it did. And the movie turned out well in the end. So it's because there's plenty of movies where you can see they had a great time filming it, but the end product, not so much.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But, yeah.
Well, definitely me and Matt obviously have been able to check it out and thoroughly enjoyed the film. For the listeners, the jawheads we call them, that are listening, that want to find out more about the film, where's the best place to follow along and maybe support or get more information?
Well, again, you can go to merrymaidsofmadness.com. Also, our Instagram is a lot of fun, which is there's a Merry Maids Instagram, but then our company Instagram is called Uncannygram for Uncanny Entertainment.
Nice.
And that'll have all the stuff about Merry Maids in there, and then also have some of our other different projects, that are kind of specifically for the web going up. And so that's always a fun way to follow us. We have a Facebook page as well, of course. I mean, all the usual suspects.
And I'll post the trailer as well on our show notes for this episode, so people can check it out there.
Yeah, awesome.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. We like to end all of our guest interviews with some silly cinema cues, we call them. Get to know the guest through the eye of the lens. Elias, what do you got for him?
Okay, so Phil and Jenn, you used female characters from Shakespeare's works in your film. If you had to use characters from a single filmmaker's catalog to make your next film, which filmmaker's characters would you pick?
Oh, man.
He is getting deeper and deeper on these cinema cues, this guy.
I'm going to have to...
I can hear the pain.
The easy answer is something like Wes Anderson,
right?
Because that's a deep catalog. But Jenn, please join the conversation on this one.
That is a fun question. I'm just trying to think who I'd have the most fun with writing the characters. I don't know, like Richard Curtis's characters, like Mr. Bean and all of those. So
Yeah. That's a good
Mr.
choice.
Bean is probably the only one I know.
yeah, well, Mr. Bean, he did not
Love Actually.
Love Actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Yeah. So, comedy with heart.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd go Quentin
I mean-
Tarantino myself.
Right.
Oh, yeah, he's got some
He would be
characters.
fun.
Oh man. Yeah. I could get going on.
Well, you
on
know-
that. I mean,
Who I was thinking of, because I love these questions, Elias, was Paul Thomas Anderson.
I was just going to say
because
that.
you got Boogie Nights,
yeah.
you got There Will Be Blood.
Yes.
I mean, he would have some great characters.
That's true. That's
have it
and
up.
actually, The Master really is probably his best character work. I mean, the dude is just amazing. Like, problem is, like,
Right.
now, because like we think about him so much in terms of some of his later, more serious ones that I didn't even think to go to like the dramas. I
Yeah.
didn't think about the comedies.
Yeah.
But I mean, really, like his body of films are just like,
Yeah, let's see Joaquin Phoenix in a porno.
Yeah.
Let's do something like that.
Exactly.
All right.
What else you got, Elias?
So if you were to remake Romeo and Juliet, who would you cast who's working today?
Who's working today?
Yes.
Oh gosh, you'd have to cast
your
it
dream
like
cast.
if you want to do it proper, because it's about two stupid young people, I think you need to cast it like super young, like
and super stupid.
and super stupid. Like actually cast it the way that it should be done, like historically. I think that would be
Oh man.
interesting.
I'm just trying to think. It's like I don't watch a lot of MTV these days, so.
So who do you cast?
I would like the crazy version is I would totally get I forget her name. It's the girl from The Middle, and she also did the voice of Star versus the Forces of Evil. She's like the kooky daughter of that group. I cannot remember her name.
Wish I could help you out, but I don't even know what The Middle is.
we could throw that in the jaw box,
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, it's an ABC comedy that I occasionally watch, but like just enough that that she amuses the heck out of me all the time. And then for the guys, man, who would be like I want to go somewhere weird.
Yeah.
You know?
Who would you cast for Mercutio?
For Mercutio.
Yeah,
This is Romeo. Oh, well, I don't
that's
know. Someone cool, probably like Miles Teller or something. You know.
Yeah,
He's pretty cool.
He is pretty cool. Him and his drums.
Yeah, Romeo's hard because I don't know a lot of the young men.
Guys, and a lot of them are suspect.
Asia Butterfield and Miley Cyrus. How about that?
There we go.
Yeah, that's not bad. I wouldn't see that movie.
I mean, that would be cool though, because like Miley would be like, you could make a Juliet that's like way more intense and a lot more of like a reserved. Oh man, you know who'd be great actually for Romeo would be what is his name? His name Ty Sheridan. It's the kid from Mud.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
that's actually good. Yeah.
And like True Life.
That would be good.
That kid is killer.
Yeah.
I would totally go with that guy.
Yeah.
Sure. And Miley Cyrus, I like it.
Yeah, she'd
And
come in.
Miley Cyrus, Miley all the way.
She'd come in like a wrecking ball.
She
right?
sure
You know?
would.
Nice, man.
Yeah, she would.
Good stuff.
That's all.
Is that all?
Yep.
Beautiful. All right. So Phil and Jen will be hanging in on this entire jaw. They have their picks. Their 5 girl power movies, Matt.
Yeah.
Yeah. It brings us to a segment called Eye for an Eye.
Eye for an eye. Interested or ignore. 20th century women. The story of 3 women who explore love and freedom in Southern California during the late 70s. The film stars Annette Bening, Elle Fanning, Greta Gerwig, and Billy Crudup. It is written and directed by Mike Mills, who gave us 2010's Beginners and 2005's Thumbsucker. We throw it over to Rye.
I saw the trailer. I mean, really, I don't think Annette Bening does anything terrible, right? No matter what, if Annette Bening's in the film, it's usually a quality project for the most part. I'd like to look over her filmography and pick out a bad one that she's done in the last 10 years. I would say everything she's in is really worth checking out. And this director, Mike Mills, I've seen Thumbsucker. I love it. Beginners. This is the one where Ewan McGregor,
It's one of your hidden gems.
yes,
Yeah.
finds out that his dad is gay. I mean, love the film. Totally interested in checking out 20th Century Women.
Sounds like a snooze fest to me, man. I don't know.
No.
Really? I don't know. No, ignore.
You got no class, Matt. You got no class.
No, I'm just honest.
All right, we throw it over to Jen. Jen, you interested or are you going to ignore this one?
I don't know. It doesn't tell me hardly anything about what's going to happen in this film just from like what the log line is. But I like Annette Bening, so I would probably give it a chance.
Phil, interested or ignore on 20th Century Women?
If Annette Bening wasn't in it, I would totally ignore. But you got Annette Bening and Billy Crudup, so I go interested.
There you go. Elias, we got 3 interesteds, 1 ignore as we throw it over to you.
Yeah, we're talking cast. I want to give a shout out to Greta Gerwig because, like I said, in Jackie, she made me very interested in her as an actor, and I want to see more of her. And it seems like they know what they're doing.
Wow, 4 interesteds, 1 ignore, but that's from Jackass Matt.
No, that's not true. I'm just keeping it real.
Right. All right, 4 interesteds for 20th Century Women. I will no doubt probably check that one out and get a review. You probably won't, Matt, no matter what.
No,
Even if we have a screening for it, this is a film that I don't think you will check out.
I like me some Annette
It'll be
Bening.
me and Elias at the screener. We know it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
All right, 4 interesteds for 20th Century Women. Speaking of new movies...
I'm sorry, what'd you say? I fell asleep.
Yeah, there you go. Speaking of new movies, there is a new one out called Hidden Figures.
Yes.
Me and Matt hit the theater to check it out.
Equilateral, trapezoid, isosceles, tetrahedron.
I've never seen a mind like the one your daughter has. You have to see what she becomes.
You know what we're doing here? We're putting a human on top of a missile, shooting him into space, and it's never been done before. I need a mathematician that can look beyond the numbers. Math that doesn't yet exist. Before the Russians plant a flag on the damn moon.
You have someone?
Running what I'm playing.
Catherine's the gal for that. She can handle any numbers you put in front of her.
Don't embarrass me.
Ryan, imagine the difficulty and pressure involved with figuring out the calculations needed to put a man in orbit and return him safely to Earth. Now, imagine it's the 60s, you're doing these calculations by hand, no computers, and you're a black woman and it's a segregated state. It's like a Mission Impossible intro, but yet this is a true story of the African-American mathematician Katherine Johnson and her 2 colleagues, Dorothy Vaughan and Mary Jackson, who, while working in the segregated West Area Computers Division of Langley Research Center, helped NASA catch up in the space race. That's not a fictional plot. That is the actual true story of this film. Frankly, it's a travesty that their important role in NASA and American history has remained hidden for so long. Katherine Johnson, Octavia Spencer, and Janelle Monáe turn in wonderful performances as the main characters. And the magic in the movie, what really makes it work largely, is their chemistry with one another. The friendship is palpable. I love the NASA scenes, and Kevin Costner is interesting as the NASA suit leader guy, and I really enjoyed this little gum-chewing character note that he threw in. That was really cool. All in all, this is an interesting and important film that every American should see. I believe this should be shown in grammar schools to young students. And frankly, I'm ashamed how long it has taken for this story to surface, and I'm proud that it finally has. 4 Jaws all the way. Guarantee you this will be on my top 10 of the year. What did you think, Rye?
Wow, Matt, you love this movie, huh?
I really didn't expect to love it as much as I did, and loved it.
Yes, I totally agree with you on it's a shame that it took so long for a story this interesting to come to light. And I do think it's the beauty of film in some way, and the thing that we love about movies is that it can cast a light on interesting characters like this. Yes, we've seen movies on John Glenn. We've seen movies done on the astronauts.
Right.
But what about the mathematicians that were behind the scenes figuring all these ridiculous formulas out to ensure the astronauts' safety?
Well,
and not only that, as you mentioned, this is African-American women in a segregated time where they didn't even have a washroom in the west area of NASA. Mm-hmm. She had to literally walk a mile. I think she says.
It was like a half mile.
But
Still, that's ridiculous.
She literally had to walk a half mile to go to the bathroom and then a half mile back to continue doing these formulas.
Which I will talk about when we do our best scenes, yes.
I mean, it really sums it up exactly. And I love all that. My one complaint is this is a movie that I think is very heavy-handed.
I didn't feel that way.
Yes, 100%. It's very heavy-handed. They hit you over the head numerous times with the message that it's a segregated time and that these women are not just against the wall for actually being women, because I think they make that point too. There's one point where they're not even alluding to them being African American. They're alluding to the point where they say a woman has never even been in this meeting.
Sure.
So they were breaking down barriers, not just, color barriers.
And you
but
think this
also,
was heavy-handed? Because I don't think it was heavy-handed enough.
Yeah, I'm saying heavy-handed in the sense of, take the opening scene, for instance. They have car trouble. And right off the bat, the three women...
So relevant to what's going on in today's news. No. Yes, absolutely.
Matt, this was the worst scene in the movie because it was very, over the top. It got its message across with everything, right? It talked about, African-American women in Virginia at the time with the police officer coming up. And it was just a little bit over the top with their little jokes about sitting on the back of the bus. That's what I mean by heavy-handed. I'm not saying... I think the message was, yeah.
I read that completely differently, and I think you're 100% wrong. I mean, what you have to look at this as is it's a white cop pulling over at a traffic stop and with African-American women, and we've seen so much of this in tragedy in the news this year that you couldn't help but be wondering when you're watching this scene. It was so poignant to what's going on in the news.
But you ever feared for their safety at that point? I mean, maybe
maybe not, because it's sort of I don't want to say lighthearted film, but it's definitely not that sort of film.
No, it isn't, and that's what I mean by in that particular scene.
That scene was tense.
No, it was not tense. No, there was nothing tense about it, unless they were going to not get their car started, or they were. That was the only tense thing going on there. And here's another heavy-handed. This is what I mean.
Talk about suspension of disbelief.
No, I actually really did like the movie because I do love the story here. But another moment that's very heavy-handed, this is what I mean by it, is obviously there's this moment where John Glenn orbits the Earth 3 times, and he comes back down. And our main character here has calculated exactly where he will land in the ocean and where the Navy is supposed to pick him up.
Right.
And they make a point of this, and they show her figuring out exactly where it was, and it comes down to the degrees of...
she threaded the needle.
Right? Yeah. Well, in that particular scene, the movement of the camera sort of focuses on her. It comes through, and you sort of see her notebook with the degrees of latitude and longitude of where he was supposed to be, and you hear the NASA announcer saying where he's landing. For me, that would have been awesome if they would have left it at that. But then somebody else comes by and says, you hit it within, 50 feet. It's just a little bit over the top. I think you got that with just the camera. Show it, don't have to say it.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way.
That said, I really enjoyed the movie. The performances all were great.
Right. Do you have a favorite scene?
Wait. Before we get there, he did not give his grade.
Oh, well, usually we give him at the very end.
Yeah. Oh, I
you
went early.
spoiled everything. And I will say I loved Kevin Costner because I've been a little hard on him lately. I never thought he could even get back to, sort of his A game. Wouldn't say he's quite there, but this was a strong role for Costner. Enjoyed it.
Was he in one of your favorite scenes?
No, he was not. My favorite scene, Matt, would have been the first launch of Alan Shepard, which was going to be the first American into space, not to orbit, but just to go up and down. Again, they used that sort of same technique that Ron Howard used in Apollo 13, where they mimicked the actual footage that we're used to seeing with NASA.
Right.
But
they Forrest Gumped it.
Yeah, but it is brand new footage. And the way they mix the two together, love it, because what an accomplishment, sending man in space when the unknown.
You missed the entire point of this movie, didn't you? You missed the entire point of this movie.
No, I did not.
Yeah, apparently you did.
I love that particular moment.
Okay.
Wow. Matt, favorite scene?
Okay, my favorite scene of this movie is when Katherine Johnson explains to Kevin Costner where she has been for the last 40 minutes or 40 minutes every day. He's like, where have you been? Because he's expecting her to be at her desk. They're calculating the trajectory of this man who has to fly through space and put his life on the line. And she's like, I had to go to the bathroom. He's like, for 40 minutes? And then she pretty much has a breakdown where she explains that as a black woman, she's not permitted to use the same restrooms as the white people who work at NASA. So she has to walk over a half mile to use the bathroom in another separate campus. And she's also, I was about to say complains, but she rightfully points out that she can't even use the same coffee pot in the office that they all work in as the rest of the people, because she is the only black person in this entire office and one of the few at NASA. And it's just a devastating scene. And I thought the acting was tremendous. It's just, she really brought some ferocity to that moment, which it needed.
It did.
And that was my favorite part of the movie.
It did. And it actually followed up, probably my second favorite scene was Kevin Costner ripping down
yes, I agree.
The scene where I think he's ripping down the scene, the sign that says, it
says colored restroom.
Yes, colored restroom.
Ladies room.
That's what it is. And he goes there with a crowbar and he rips it down. That was pretty awesome. So.
That was good. Yeah, I appreciated that.
So, Rye, you had some trouble with scenes. Was there one in particular?
It was the opening scene of the movie. I thought the opening scene was way too heavy-handed. And the other thing that I had written down here was some of the lines were delivered sort of ham-fisted, another way to go about it, where they just said it was like, oh, geez, it's a little over the top. I liked the message, but a little of it was TV movie-like.
There is a moment, because I'll tell you my least favorite scene. At the end of the film, this is a historical movie. I don't think I'm spoiling anything. Katherine Johnson's name in the beginning of the movie is Catherine Goebel, gets married, and she has this moment before the mirror. It's her second marriage, and she's talking to her two colleague friends. And yeah, the dialogue is just, I agree, completely. In this moment, it's really ham-fisted. They have this moment that's it just stunk of bad acting. But really, that's the exception in an otherwise perfectly acted movie, I think.
Okay. So, Matt, you said a little bit of Apollo 13. Were there any specific movie influences that you saw?
I mean, well, it's sort of easy just for the mixing of the historic footage to say Forrest Gump, because I already said Forrest Gump. This is nothing like Forrest Gump. No, difficult to point to actual influences. I think this is a new breed of biopic, which I kind of enjoy.
I got one for you.
Go ahead.
42, which was the Jackie Robinson story. And also, I thought very heavy-handed and had some trouble with the dialogue at some points. Also had, instead of Kevin Costner, you had Harrison Ford being the owner of the team. Very similar in that way. Also has to deal with breaking the color barrier, and also just a terrific moment for, I guess, the movement of the country.
Here's the thing, though, and this is my last point. We knew about the color barrier in baseball, but
we didn't know it in NASA.
We did not know that this is a story that hasn't been told, should have been told a long time ago, and finally it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there's another point where one of the girls actually is basically an engineer at NASA, but she can't be considered an engineer because she doesn't have the right academic studies behind her credentials. But we're still at a time where she wasn't allowed to take those classes. That is just absolutely wild. And of course, she goes to court to get that turned around. I mean, that was pretty awesome as well. So
that was also a great scene.
It was, yeah.
How about one-word reviews?
One-word review. Tough to sum this one up in one review. I would say mathematicians. I don't know. There was a lot of math in this movie. Maths.
All right. Can I hyphenate? Can I say aptly titled?
All right.
There you go. You gave it 4 jaws, Matt. I'm going 2.5 jaws.
Wow, you did not care for this.
I liked it. That's all I'm saying is I liked it.
It was the middle of the road.
Yeah, just above middle of the road.
Just above. Okay.
Yeah. There you go. One more quick review. And you guys still with us? Jenn, Phil?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
After that review, are you excited to see it?
I think it has like the worst title, but I'm super stoked to see it.
Can I want to comment on that real fast, because I felt the same way as you, Phil. Like, this title is stupid. I thought it was sort of hinting at their femininity with the figures reference. After seeing the movie, I complete 180. I turned around and realized that it's not about their figures as women at all. If that pun was intended, then shame on them for the title. I don't think it is. I think it's about them as historical figures that have been hidden, and it's more of a reference to the mathematical figures. So,
oh yeah,
I don't know if that changes your opinion, but that I felt the same way as you about it.
Yeah. Sorry. Jen just gave me the look. Yeah, no, I think I thought that's what they were going for, and I was like, It's just because it doesn't pop for me. Maybe I'm too much of a Neanderthal, and I'm like, it's gotta have more pop to the title.
All right, well,
the movie, then make your judgment.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Speaking of new movies, we have one other review. Matt, 5,000 passengers traveling through space from Earth to a new planet are all in hibernation. That is until 2 very good-looking passengers awake early. Jennifer Lawrence and Chris Pratt. What are the odds? Actually, Pratt's character wakes first, roughly a year ahead of time. The first 25 minutes of the film, even though, as I pointed out, Matt, Jennifer Lawrence has top billing in this movie, the first 25 minutes of the film is him wandering around trying to figure out a way to fall back into hibernation or contact someone back on Earth. His only companion is a robot bartender played by Michael Sheen, who was activated when Pratt woke up. Finally, Pratt gets human company when Lawrence wakes up. After going through the same mental struggles as Pratt, she then finally accepts her faith and starts to live life to the fullest with Pratt. Bow, chicka, bow, bow. However, that is short-lived as the secrets to why they woke up early are finally discovered. The film, Matt, has so much potential, but the execution was flat and dull. The story moved slow and you could feel it. After the big reveal, the last 20 minutes of the movie seems so rushed, and the big ideas presented earlier in the film were quickly swept to the side. It felt like Passengers did not know what kind of movie it wanted to be. Cool, thought-provoking sci-fi film, or sexy, romantic film set in space. It needed to pick a genre and stick with it. Instead, it put a foot in each genre, and the result was a failure. Ride the Movie Guy's grade, 2 Jaws.
That
really
is disappointing.
Maybe even 1.5. I only saw this yesterday, and it's one of those, the more I think about it, the more I dislike the movie. Sometimes that happens.
That's sad, man.
Yeah. I mean, it had, like I say, these great ideas of going to a new planet and like, oh, this is going to be epically big. But at the core of the movie was just, hey, let's make these two quote unquote good looking people hang out and then have this little bit of a twist involved and see what happens. And even with the twist, once it was in the hands of the filmmakers, I don't think they knew exactly what to do with it. And the last 20 minutes were just rushed.
You were excited about this too, like an original entry, and that's a shame.
I was pumped. Favorite scene in this movie?
Yeah, right.
At one point, I will say this, they lose gravity on the ship, and Jennifer Lawrence is swimming in basically the coolest swimming pool of all time. It's one of these, if you've ever seen these like luxury hotels that are built right on a cliff and the water looks like it's on the horizon, it's just like that, except it's just a window into space. And the water goes right up to the window. And so she's swimming in that, but she's doing that multiple times.
Is it zero gravity too?
Well, no. So what happens is there's gravity on the ship, but at one point she's swimming when something malfunctions and they lose gravity and all the water goes up into the air and she is basically caught in a bubble of water in just midair.
Oh, and she can't get out.
And she can't get out because there's no way to move around. It's that looked awesome and was a pretty cool concept. My favorite scene.
Wow.
Nice. Yeah.
So I brought up did you have any trouble specifically because I brought up the old-timey bartender when we were talking about interested or ignore. Did he play a role in this? Or?
Actually, the worst scene in the movie is the first time they go to the bar. And it wasn't so much in the idea that it was this old-time bar. I like that aspect, and they sort of give an explanation for that. But the first time they go to the bar, there's this just terrible, cheesy line where Chris Pratt says something like, he says something to her, and she takes it the wrong way, and he says, okay, I'll just give you some space. And here they are alone in outer space. And she's like, just what I need. More space. And it's like everybody, you could hear like growls across the aisle.
Groan.
Like this is garbage.
Wow. Yikes. Were there any movie influences?
Movie influences, I would say a little bit of The Martian, being sort of alone in space. Granted, he was on Mars, but you could see some of that. And also Wall-E. Granted, they're robots alone, but these are two humans alone that sort of fall in love.
That's not the twist that they're robots?
That is not.
All right. Well,
I'll give you an X on that spoiler there, not robots.
So one-word review.
Snooze fest with a hyphen.
Oh, man.
Snooze fest. It was really slow for being a sci-fi film.
Are you sure you just weren't so jacked up on Rogue One in space?
No, this is definitely, at the absolute best, this is going to be a two-jaw movie, like I say. I don't think anybody would see it and think otherwise. It's absolute best, middle of the road. Most people go in, you'll have some expectations.
Just
to
go
see
ahead and call it crap.
And you will be disappointed. I would say 1.5 jaws to 2 jaws. That's all it is. Shame.
That is a shame.
Yeah. But our review this week, because of Hidden Figures, because we have the director, star, and writer on of Merry Maids of Madness, we decided to tie it all in and go girl power movies. You guys are getting us started. I guess we'll start with Jenn, who wrote and starred in the film. Let's hear, did you have any trouble coming up with your top 5? How'd you come about it?
Well, I really thought about it because I was like, gosh, what movies do I want to talk about where there are these female characters that I actually want to cheer on?
Sure.
You know, because a lot of times there's a lot of movies where women start off wearing glasses and then they get a makeover and then they're great. They're wonderful. And so I really wanted to I wanted to choose some things that went off the path a little bit. So I'll see.
What do you got sitting at number 5?
Elizabeth with Kate Blanchett.
What a film.
And I just chose it just because it's really the story of a girl going from a girl straight to a woman, and then actually figuring out what she has to do to really thrive in a man's world. So I love that movie.
Yeah. I've only seen it. Maybe I did revisit it at one time, but obviously this was what really, I think, cast a spotlight on Kate Blanchett. I don't think I was quite aware of her, especially name-wise recognition, until I had saw Elizabeth, and what an awesome movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice pick. I didn't even think about it. Yeah.
She was nominated the same year as, who won that year?
Oh, I don't remember.
Throw it in the jaw box. We got our Elias will look it up. Who won Best Actress the year Elizabeth came out?
All right.
Yeah.
I'll look it up.
We throw it over now to Phil. Phil, what do you got as your number 5 girl power movie?
My number 5 is Run Lola Run.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Yeah. I mean, just the image of Franca Potente running is the epitome of awesome girl power. I just love that movie.
I do too. All right, so at number 5, I have the Swedish film from 2013, punk rock gem, We Are the Best.
Wow.
Nice.
There's nothing better than when you actually surprise me on the show, and it happens so few times, but I really champion that pick. That is awesome, and it was not on my radar at all, and I love that movie.
It's definitely a girl power movie. It's about the friendship of the girls. They sort of get us into a spat about a romance, but it comes back together. I love this movie.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a new Breakfast Club, in my opinion.
Yeah, I know we did punk rock movies, and this was, I think, my number 1.
It was high up for me, too.
Yeah, I love this movie, so there's no doubt about it. I really, really like that pick. Didn't even think of it.
Thank you.
And I mean, this is one of those. A lot of times you can do some research on. You feel around your friends or throw it out onto Facebook for ideas. And this one, I think it's there's a lot of them, but you sort of have to, I guess, come to a head with yourself and say, hey, this is what I think it is to be, a top 5 girl power movie.
Well, I promise it's all downhill from here.
All right, it swings it over to my number 5. And again, we do this every week, so I try to talk about films that I have not brought up very much on Cinemajaw, and I don't know if ever in the 306 episodes prior to have brought this movie up. Came out in 2002. Keira Knightley starred in it before I even knew who the hell Keira Knightley was. I'm speaking of Bend It Like Beckham.
I'm pretty sure you've brought this up once or twice.
Have I?
I'm pretty sure you have.
I don't know. Obviously, the movie. Have you seen this movie?
No. I've never actually sat down and watched
Jenn,
it.
Phil, have you guys seen this one?
No, it's been on the list.
Yeah.
But...
Same, yeah.
But it tells the story. I mean, at this time, they're like 12, 13-year-old girls. Jess is told she's not allowed to play football, as it's called everywhere else but America. And Keira Knightley, she meets is Jules, and she is into playing football, soccer. And they end up a friendship, and she convinces Jess to be on the team. And she ends up being absolutely awesome and getting a scholarship into college. And it's just a great movie. It really is. It's girl power all the way.
I actually really do want to see it eventually. So
yeah. Bend It Like Beckham, Matt.
I will.
You will.
I don't even know what that means, but I'm going to do it. God damn it. I'm going to do it.
All right. We swing it into our 4s. Jenn, what do you got sitting there?
I have Now Voyager with Bette Davis.
Whoa. I love when someone brings up an oldie like this.
When I was in college, one of my close friends handed me this movie, and she said, "Watch this." And it's Betty Davis going from basically being a rich shut-in to like the most fabulous woman you've ever met. It's basically one of the first like makeover movies, which is funny because then I said I wasn't going to do makeover movies, but
it's sophisticated.
It is such a wonderful film. It's one of my favorites if you haven't seen it.
I have not seen it.
Highly recommend.
Yeah. I'll throw that one on the queue for sure.
Ditto.
Yeah. Nice pick. Phil, what do you got sitting there?
Oh, very much the opposite. I don't know if you guys allow cheating, but I feel like these are all of a piece. So for number 4, it would be Quentin Tarantino's Kill Bill Volume 1, 2, and Death Proof. Because I feel like they're all of like that specific time of his career, and they're awesome. And yeah, I mean, what can you say? I mean, it's just like all kinds of women being awesome.
No doubt about it.
Yeah, that's allowed.
And both those are actually honorable mentions of mine. Both Kill Bill, I would just say Volume 1 or 2. That counts as one. And Death Proof were both honorable mentions of mine.
Really?
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Yeah. I really just watched Kill Bill, and yeah, total girl power. Man, that movie's awesome.
Hell yeah.
So, yeah, great pick.
All right, so that swings us around to my number 4, and at number 4, I have one of the, speaking of Jennifer Lawrence, ultimate female badasses of all time, Katniss Everdeen, The Hunger Games.
Boo.
Really? Boo?
Boo.
No, Ryan, take your boo and just turn around and shove it straight up your ass. I'm going to take a few steps back and fire an arrow just to get it all the way up there.
No way.
Because there is an entire generation of young ladies today, like you know,
that are shooting arrows.
Tweens, like, yes, absolutely. That look
They're into archery.
Dude, yes.
What are you talking about?
Here we have...
I've seen no numbers that archery has gone up in this country.
I know friends who went and did archery recently because of those movies.
Oh,
Thank
Jesus.
you. Thank
Come
you,
on,
Phil. See, here we have
I'm totally serious.
A female action hero in the modern age since the 80s when the action film sort of went out of vogue, and they young girls had nobody to look up to other than like fashion models before Katniss Everdeen stepped in and became a total badass. So don't dismiss this pick so easily. I think Jennifer Lawrence was actually very surprising at the time, surprisingly phenomenal actress, and brought a lot of heart to the film. It's a decent book series, and I thought that the movie translations were pretty damn good.
Wow.
Especially the first one.
I sum up that pick with one word. Boo.
Yeah. How does it feel to be wrong all the time, especially this episode?
No, you know what? I did read I read the book series, The Hunger Games, and I liked the first film, and then it just sort of, for me, just fell apart. I just didn't get back into The Hunger Games.
Well,
I don't know. I look back at it as a series as a whole, not something I'd ever watch or get into.
The films have their ebbs and flows. I mean, there's ups and downs, whatever, but you cannot say that Jennifer Lawrence's performance wasn't good. Katniss is an extremely cool female character.
We'll leave it there. Swings it over to my number 4, and I go total badass with my pick at number 4. Came out in 2011. Saoirse Ronan played Hannah.
Actually, that's a good pick. I really wanted to boo you, but that's...
You guys have seen this one?
Part of it.
Yeah.
So,
Hannah is trained to be an assassin at a very young age, and at age 15, she is told by her father, Eric Bana, plays her father, that she's ready to take on their enemies. That being Cate Blanchett. And wow, what an awesome movie! I mean, Hannah, action-wise, cool, but also a really good plot to the movie as well. Good-looking movie. If you have not seen Hannah, it's well worth checking it out, man. Love it.
I guess that brings us to our number 3s.
Yes. Jen, what do you got sitting at number 3?
This is my comfort film. This is the most chick flick out of all of them. Is Under the Tuscan Sun.
Have not seen it myself.
I have seen this one. Yeah.
It's real, just kind of like, it's almost like narrative fiction as a film, because it's by the author Frances Mays, and it's about her divorce and moving to Italy. And it's just kind of a delightful film. Just makes you feel good for the rest of the day. And it's about a woman finding herself again, so it's a pretty cool flick.
Who stars in that again?
Diane Lane.
That's it, Diane Lane. I knew it. Yeah, okay, that's right. Yeah. I haven't actually seen that. Good film. Solid film.
Mm-hmm.
Phil, what do you got sitting there?
For number 3, I've got Amelie.
Yes.
Great pick. Phil, that might be too low. I wasn't thinking about it, but that's an awesome pick right there.
I know, it's my favorite movie like all time. So I try to not give it too much favoritism. But I mean, Janae is like a master visual storyteller. I mean, just delightful. And that movie, the first time I saw it, it was the pure definition of feel good film, but like without any schmaltz or any, like it played fair, it played adult, and it was just delightful from start to finish. I mean, you just, or however you say your name, and Dominique Pignon. I mean, all of it is just, it's good stuff.
I agree, man. It's one of my favorites too.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
Right up there with me as well. It's definitely top 10 material. Yeah.
Could be.
Yeah.
Love that film. Great pick. Matt, can you follow that up with your number 3?
Normally I would probably say no, but I think
Katniss Everdeen.
I think this one follows it up quite nicely. It is by director Clint Eastwood, $1 Million Baby. Right? I mean, this is a movie that just kicks you in the chest, you know? It's absolutely devastating what Hilary Swank goes through in this film. And her relationship with Clint Eastwood's character, just thinking about it, I start to get teared up, right?
Yeah, it's no doubt. It's a great one. And 2, she really pulled off the idea that she could be a boxer in the ring, right? I mean, she looked tough, and
she did,
like a boxer.
Well, don't forget, right?
Yeah,
She was
that's one thing she's really good at, is a nice sense of physicality.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I always feel bad. I always think like Hilary Swank, here she is, a 2-time Oscar winner, and yet it seems like nobody gives her the credit for being like a great actress. I don't think she has like probably the range that some of the greats do. But boy, if you get her in that wheelhouse where she can be one of the best in something like $1 Million Baby or Boys Don't Cry.
Oh, I agree. And as far as her physicality goes, don't forget, she was the Karate Kid.
The next Karate Kid.
What?
Oh, man. That's not okay. It's not okay.
Oh, it's real okay, man.
I've actually never seen the next Karate Kid.
I've seen it. It sucks. Pat Morita was in it. That's, not
going to be your number 1, huh?
No.
All right. Swings it over to my number 3, and maybe this is something that jarred in my mind when I saw Hidden Figures, and then we decided to do this girl power list, because in 2006 there was a wonderful small film that came out about a spelling bee, Matthew.
Oh, wow. Yes.
A spelling bee. I'm speaking of Aquila and the Bee.
Good pick, dude.
Do you know this one?
Yes.
Yeah, and this tells the story of Aquila, who's a young African-American girl growing up in South Los Angeles. And she's very good at spelling and ends up getting basically registered into the local district spelling bee and wins that. And from there, she meets different spellers. You got like an Asian kid who sort of is competing against her, and then another friend that tells her that she needs some tutoring and could really go somewhere. Great cast with Larry Fishburne, as I like to call him, and Angela Bassett is in this movie as well. And of course, Aquila, it seems like she's against all odds. She just has a single mother and doesn't have time to get her to these classes, but yet other people come to the rescue and see the potential that Aquila has. And I don't think, when you're a moviegoer, that kind of stuff melts your heart. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like the thing you want out of society is that people take the time to realize someone has a special gift, and with a little
encouragement
and a little help, they can go a long way. And that's what you see in Aquila and the Bee. If you haven't seen it, and it is a smaller film, but it made waves when it first came out, especially independent-wise. So,
not my favorite spelling bee movie. That would have to go to the Jason Bateman independent film where
Bad Words.
Oh,
you like that one?
Oh, I want to see that.
I know, we haven't seen it yet.
Oh, check it out. I think it's on Netflix.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, we are into our number 2s. No crossovers yet with them, which I'm very proud of. Jen, what do you got sitting there?
Now I have a 1980s action, Alien, because it is Mama Bear gonna protect her baby. So, and that was the person I got to grow up watching, Sigourney Weaver, just being, the ultimate female action hero. So I had to put it on the list.
No doubt. We've talked about it many times on CinemaJaw here, that was just such a turning point, I think, for strong female characters and in action.
Yeah, Vasquez.
Oh, and Vasquez, yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Absolutely.
Yeah, great pick. I knew Alien was going to come up, no doubt about it. Phil, what do you got?
My number 2 would be Paper Moon with the O'Neills.
This is one that comes up a lot on the show, and I still haven't seen.
I have not seen Paper Moon either.
Oh, I gotta watch it. I think it might be on HBO Go right now.
It's an utter delight.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Throw us a
Tatum
password,
O'Neal
guys.
is dynamite. Whether or not the Bogdanovich guided her every move, it doesn't matter. It's still awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I believe, throw this in the jaw box, she became the youngest actress to win the Academy Award, correct?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Tatum O'Neal.
Yeah.
Yes.
No,
Okay.
highly recommend. I believe it's either on Hulu or HBO Go. Really check it out. It is a delight.
Yeah. And then if you
So
really,
well done.
and if you like that movie, then go watch Kikujiro.
Oh, yeah.
It's all about, I just love these movies with these slightly, criminal men and the kids they make friends with and go on wacky adventures with.
I believe it was Tom Dreesen that recommended Paper Moon to us most recently.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that brings us to
it's
my
a
number
must.
2. Yeah, absolutely. You guys are not the first to say so. So at number 2, I have the first of all, we have to have a female director on this list, and Penny Marshall knocked it out of the park, pun fully intended, with League of Their Own.
Heck yes.
That was an honorable mention for me.
Same here.
I think it belongs on this list. I mean, it's the story of basically what happened during World War II when all the men went to fight the war, but yet we still needed baseball on TV, so we got women to play baseball, and they had a league of their own. I mean, the movie Madonna, of course, Gina Davis,
Rosie O'Donnell, Lori Petty, and then, of course, John Lovitz and Tom Hanks pop up. Just great. It's a classic. It's an American classic. It sure is. Yeah.
One of my favorites.
One of the better sports movies of all time.
Agreed.
Love it. Nice pick at number 2 for sure. Finally, wow, we have gotten this far and we do not have an animated film on the list. Maybe this is pedestrian, but
I was hoping for a documentary.
but
What do you
in
got?
2013, did we not all get swept away with Frozen? I know, Matt, you're probably sick of the song.
Oh, no, I love this song.
But not only girl power, but sister power as well. I remember seeing the end of that movie where, and I didn't know that. I saw it either a screening or early on. I saw the movie, so I didn't know everybody was making this big deal about it being sort of a girl power movie. And this idea that the prince didn't necessarily, his kiss did nothing for her. And this whole this little twist at the very end of this movie, to have it be sort of, the sister and to have it be two girls as the powers of this movie was tremendous by Disney. And from what I'm hearing, I have not seen Moana yet, but I hear Moana yet, but it's supposed to be awesome. So
I've heard that too. I haven't seen it yet either.
Phil has not seen it yet either. He's our go-to animated guy, but no. But yeah, I liked Frozen. You guys fans of Frozen, or did you guys get sick of it?
Oh yeah, no.
Well, I mean, the song is what it is, but but that being said, I love the idea of the sisters in it, and that was the focal point. That was the business, and it's so good. So,
No, I really enjoyed it.
And Olaf, good times.
Yeah,
great times, and it had a broad crossover appeal too. I'm the father of two boys, and it was the song we sang every day for about 3 months ad nauseum.
Oh man!
And that was Matt really pushing it.
Literally, at one point, we were watching videos on YouTube of people singing the song in other languages.
Oh my God!
I'm serious.
Wow,
it was painful.
There you go. All right, we are into our number 1 girl power movies. Jenn, you're up first. What do you got?
Okay, well, first I do want to say my honorable.
No, don't ruin it. We'll do honorable mentions at the end.
At the end.
Just in case,
then
yeah.
My number 1 is actually one of my favorites, which is Fargo.
It's a great pick.
Wow,
I
never
wasn't thinking
thought of that as girl power, but you're right. Absolutely.
Yeah. She's dealing with such, just incredible darkness, and she's at her most vulnerable being pregnant, and it's Frances. Oh gosh, it's so good.
Frances McDormand is awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, she makes everything a little more awesome.
Yeah.
And she's so good in that.
Yeah. So that's my number one.
No doubt. And that brings me back to when Elias was asking about characters from a certain director. I thought of the Coen brothers, but didn't bring it up. But yeah, wow, all those.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that would change my pick.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that was the correct answer.
Wow. Figured it out.
Yeah. All right, Phil, what do you got sitting at number one?
All right, so this is a pretty obvious pick, but I just have to go with it. So, but Mad Max Fury Road.
Oh yeah,
no doubt, honorable mention for me. Yeah.
I mean, I've always been a big fan of those movies and generally post-apocalyptic good times. And I mean, I saw the trailer for that movie and I was like, man, you could just feel like a filmmaker's stamp on something. It didn't feel generic. It didn't feel like, like McDonald's of action. It really was individual and crazy. And just, I was just so excited. And the movie totally lived up to the hype for me.
I agree. All right, that brings us to my number one. And guys, come on, Thelma and Louise. Girl power. I mean, this is the ultimate girl power film. We've all seen it. They drive off the cliff. They're holding hands. Yeah. Spoiler alert. I don't know if maybe at the time when this movie came out, it sort of introduced me to the concept of girl power. I was very young in 1991, so forgive me. Susan Sarandon, Gina Davis, Ridley Scott directing, powerhouse movie.
No doubt about it. I was reading, I think it was Entertainment Weekly did, what you said it, 91?
Yeah.
So maybe they're doing the 25-year anniversary or something along those lines. And it was a great read on just the idea of the movie, Gina Davis and Susan Sarandon talking about how they just weren't sure if it was going to catch on with audiences because at that time when they were putting the movie out, it just wasn't commonplace to have two lead female characters like that be the entire movie. So.
It's the film version of that Dixie Chicks song about how she slashes the tires on his brand new car and all that. I mean, it's basically like
Earl.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, Elias knows it. So. Yeah,
it's their big number.
Leaves me with my number one, Matt.
I'm worried.
No, you shouldn't be worried, Matt. I never let the jawheads down.
How are you going to top Thelma and Louise?
Matt, you are going to like my pick. You're going to really, really like my pick. Any hint there?
No, yeah,
there was a hint.
Yeah.
I'm speaking of the 1979 Sally Field masterpiece.
I knew it was Sally Field.
Norma Ray.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen Norma Ray?
Indeed.
Yeah.
It talk about girl power. I mean, you got Norma Ray. It's based on a true story of a small town woman working at a small factory that gets everybody to unionize. And I mean, it's a great performance by Sally Field, and it's one of those that I didn't see until long after I'd already been doing CinemaJaw, and I went back and I was like, man, here's one that I've always missed, and I always worry about those because they sort of
can fall flat.
Yeah,
not live up to expectations
because you've heard about them for so long, and this is one of those that you watch and you're like, oh, I'm so glad I watched Norma Ray because it sort of explains a lot of what you've seen. So I'm a huge fan, and I'm just a huge fan of Sally Field, especially. In Norma Ray. So
does that mean we did not cross over?
We did not at all.
That's insane.
Wow.
That really is. That's crazy. That's 20 girl power movies. Girl power, Matt.
Girl power.
No.
That'll keep your Christmas viewing going.
No doubt. Let's go honorable mentions. I think all of mine were mentioned except two. So I'll go first. I had Pitch Perfect, which I like. I didn't see Pitch Perfect 2 yet. And a 2016 pick, The Fits, which I know Elias
I've heard that's supposed to be really great.
has seen.
Oh, yes.
And it's a dance movie. It's a whole lot more than that. It's a coming of age movie and sort of discovering yourself, all wrapped up in about, I think, an hour and 12 minutes, which is pretty remarkable. I love The Fits, and it's streaming. Throw it in the jaw box to see what it's streaming on. I forget what I'm watching sometimes. If am I on Hulu? Am I on Netflix? Am I on Amazon? It's one of them. So throw that to the jaw.
The internets. All right, so my honorables, Labyrinth, I think great Jennifer Connelly vehicle early on. Girl power in a way. And just rounding out the animation category, I would say Inside Out for sure, for a lot of reasons, is very girl power.
Good. Yeah, I can see that.
Oh no, great.
That's definitely. Yeah. How about you guys?
For me, I have 3 honorable mentions. I have Coal Miner's Daughter with Sissy Spacek.
Mm-hmm.
I have Coraline, the animated movie.
Love it.
And I have Silence of the Lambs.
That's a good one too. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
How about you, Phil?
Me, I got Carrie.
No, I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and then the 1980s classic 9 to 5.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Dolly Parton, sure.
Didn't even consider that.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. You know, Dabney Coleman getting like hung up in a harness. I mean, you can't beat that.
No.
Yes, my introduction to S&M. Yeah.
Pure entertainment. Was that everything?
Whole family.
I think that's it. Was that all of your stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I could keep going, but I mean, then we're just going nuts at that point.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. And I'm sure we missed some of the Jawheads' favorite girl power movies. And if that is the case, and you have Twitter pulled up, shoot us a tweet at CinemaJaw. We will retweet it and get the discussion going. What we're going to do is take a quick break, and when we come back, Matt is taking Phil and Jenn on in 2016 flop movie trivia, plus a CinemaWAR looking at Shakespeare at the movies. We'll be right back on CinemaJaw.
Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby. Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves.
CinemaJaw is brought to you by. Hey, Rye.
Yeah.
I got a package in the mail today.
Ooh, tell me what it is.
It's the K&N air filter, dude.
There it is.
Yeah, man, I'm so excited to put this in my car. We're going to get better performance.
And not only that, look at this. I'm putting on a Canon air filter hat.
Oh, man, that is spiffy. You just look fantastic in that.
Hey, let's give one to Elias.
Oh, thank you guys. I feel like I'm performing better now with this hat on.
Yeah, well, you could use some better performance. Hey, guys, if you want your own K&N air filter hat and a filter for your car, which is going to make everything better, go to knfilters.com/podcast. You can buy yourself a filter, and they throw in the hat for free. And we thank them for their support.
Let's all go to the lobby to get ourselves a treat.
And we are back on CinemaJaw, hanging out with Phil and Jenn, who are the masterminds, the director, the writer, the star of the Merry Maids of Madness. It just came up as we were at break here that you guys actually worked on the Avengers. You had some small part in one of Matt's favorite movies of all time. What was that?
Well,
The glamorous job.
Right. I was working in accounting.
And I was working in travel.
Yeah.
Well,
These are important roles.
they are very instrumental.
Yeah, I mean, I was lucky is that I got to deliver per diem, so I got to meet everybody in the cast and crew, and I got to hang out on set a lot. You know, so that was actually very cool. And then I would occasionally go and just be on set for some of the shoots when I wasn't working, and it was pretty epic.
Yeah.
Everyone loves the per diem guy. I mean, you're the man at that point, right?
Oh yeah. No, there was one guy. They're all, hey, this dude's looking for you. And he's like, what? Who? And he's like, he's got your money. He's like, oh, hey, what's up, bro?
I had to start telling. I'm like, you realize Phil he's not actually giving you his money.
And he does. It paid off well at the catering.
It did. Yeah. We always got extra food.
But wasn't it the per diem guy that got into Christian Bale point of view during The Dark Knight, where he said, "Oh, good for you"?
No, that was the gaffer.
DP.
It was the gaffer, DP.
DP, yes.
Gaffer.
Oh, I love that.
Oh man, that was uncalled for.
Yeah, we had friends on set when that went down.
Yeah,
it was pretty interesting.
Now something
they actually kind of sided with Christian Bale on that one, actually.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. So
it made for a great sound clip for sure.
Oh, good for you. And how was it? I hope it was fucking good, because it's useless now, isn't it? Fuck's sake, man, you're amateur.
Love that one. Love it.
It wasn't all reasonable.
Awesome. And should be noted here too, besides the film that we talked about at the top of the show, you guys also do a web series. Started a little web series. Tell us a little bit about that.
Oh, well, this was, really, this is Jen's brainchild, but it's both making us giggle. Literally, the show is called What Does Daniel Prefer? And it is our friend Dan, who's in
Maids of Madness.
Yes, he's in Merry Maids of Madness with Nick Bottom. And it is literally, we just ask him a question on the fly of what he prefers. Like, do you prefer this or do you prefer that? And he decides, and it ends. And it's really, we call it the pet rock of internet comedy. I mean, it's very simple and kind of silly and just makes us laugh.
And we just basically took a very fancy armchair around New Mexico and filmed him in beautiful spots answering what he prefers.
Yep.
So
nice.
Check it out.
Yeah, where can we check it out? What's the link?
Right now it's just on Instagram, but we're going to be putting up several of the episodes onto YouTube where it'll then live. We were kind of doing a bit of a soft open on it to start to see how people were engaging it, things like that. So
cool.
So right now on Candygram on Instagram.
Awesome.
I will check it out.
Definitely look forward to it. Matt, before we get to trivia, before we get to CinemaWAR, we threw a couple items into the jaw box. And I know Elias, he's a big Shakespeare fan. Let's get him out of that jaw box.
What's your pleasure, Mr. Cotton?
The box.
We got a box! Oh, what's in the box?
What's going on, guys? I was wondering, I overheard you talking about per diem. I was wondering, Matt, if I'm ever going to get a per diem besides the Alpo Prime Cuts dog food you give me.
No.
No?
I'm going to switch to cat food. How's that? Yes.
That sounds great. I'm a cat person.
Yes.
So
yeah, I know. That's why I fed you dog
I hope
food.
It's fancy feast, at least for the holidays.
Not so fancy feast.
Okay, well.
I got it at Aldi.
All right.
Generic.
At least it's cat food. All right, well, let's just jump in here. We were wondering what the middle actress, the woman who plays the daughter, what's her name? It's Eden Shear, or Cher.
Yeah.
And the next question was, who won Best Actress the year Elizabeth came out? That was Helen Hunt in As Good as It Gets.
No kidding.
Okay.
I did like Helen Hunt in there, but I'd have to watch the two movies again, you know?
Yes.
Yeah, but I love Helen Hunt. I love that movie, but come on.
I will say it's nice that like a comedy film got recognized so much at the Oscars that year. I will give it that.
I'll give it that.
Yeah, and it is funny, like when you think back to it, like Cate Blanchett had no pull at that time, you know? It was like, who is this person?
Yeah,
you know?
but Helen
But
Hunt,
now it's
come
like,
on.
oh, God, they missed Cate Blanchett in probably one of her best roles, you know?
Yeah, I don't know how the hell Helen Hunt got that one.
So the next one was just a confirmation that, yes, Tatum O'Neal is the youngest actress to win an Oscar.
How old?
10 years old.
10 years old.
Wow.
And
That's an accomplishment.
Yes. So Rye mentioned he watched the movie The Fits, which is a very magical, very real life. You know, you feel like you're in that world. Watch the trailer, Jawheads, and dive right in. It's on Prime.
Ah, Amazon Prime.
Oh,
Yes.
okay, good. Well, if you don't have Prime, you should have. I mean, not shilling for Amazon, but you should
Check it out. Or
Yeah.
borrow Matt's
Yeah, you should.
password.
And you know, we watch a lot of movies that we don't have time to talk about on CinemaJaw, and The Fits being one of them. Really quick, I went into it. I actually thought going into it, I knew nothing about it. I thought it was a documentary about dance. I had no idea, and then I find out that it's actually a narrative,
Yes.
and it's like, oh my God, and it's really just a parallel for this person's coming of age. I loved it. It's like a beautiful short film. I mean, it's a
Right.
feature length. I don't mean to say short, but a short feature length film, and it's gorgeous.
Yeah, the actual dancing crew who play the actresses in the film are a real team in Ohio, and they came to the Middle Coast Film Festival where my short won Best Short Film, and they were all
Shameless
there.
plug.
They were all there, and it was awesome. They did a little routine during the awards ceremony, like you said, it was, it seemed, if you watch the trailer, it seems like a documentary,
Mm-hmm.
and that's the way the director shot it, which she did an amazing job. And it is a real life team who they
Do the dancing.
yes, and you could tell the way that they bounce off each other. It's a great vibe, and what an accomplishment to direct young actresses like that and make a really great film.
Yeah, and you got this wonderful scene where they're doing a humongous dance, whole choreographed scene, and the troupe is more or less, in tune with each other.
Right.
But the lead actress who's sort of catching on,
Oh,
she's
yeah.
just a little bit off with everything.
Right.
But that's her character. That's
Yes.
what the whole parallel of the film is. And it's just like,
Yes.
wow. Yeah, I don't think you realize that until a little bit later and you start to capture what a special movie this
And
is.
funny story, during the Q&A, the dance coach was there, and so none of them had acted before, and like I said, the director did a great job directing them. That actress who had to pretend like she was a bad dancer was one of the star dancers on the entire team.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, she said that was the hardest part of the entire film was to, pretend to be a bad dancer.
That's awesome. Yeah, check out The Fits. Another recommendation here on Cinemajaw.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's it for the Jawbox questions. We do have some feedback, though.
Oh, we
All
love
right.
feedback.
Yeah.
Yes, let's jump right in. This is a message from Michelle. She says, "Hello, Jawheads. I love your podcast. I stumbled on it during an episode of Stuff You Should Know. Thanks again, fellas. The recommendation hit the mark for sure. My husband and I love watching movies. Since we have young kids, we don't go out much, but we're always looking to add movies to our Netflix queue. A while back, Midnight Special made it to one of your top 5 lists, and we watched it because of the praise. We loved it. I can't stop thinking about it either. I'll be driving down the freeway, see the cityscape, and picture one of those crazy buildings behind it. Thanks so much for being just like me. Keep the reviews and podcasts coming. Michelle."
Awesome.
That is great.
Yeah. Thank you, Michelle. I
Thanks,
love hearing
Michelle.
that stuff. And you know what? It's funny. I don't want to spoiler. I don't want to give anything away here, but as I did mention, next time we will be recording, we'll be doing our top 10 of 2016. And there are a few films that I want to go over to see if they quite make my top 10. Michelle, Midnight Special is on that list to rewatch because I did give it very high praise here on the show. So, and it is streaming. So
Nice.
Yeah.
What's it on? Just because
throw it in the late job box. I know it's on one of the platforms.
Oh boy, I will look that up.
I can look it up too.
Interesting point that in Michelle's feedback here, she says, "Hello, Jawheads," referring to us as Jawheads. I don't know if this is ever established, but at the beginning of the show, I say, "What's up, Jawheads?" I'm referring to the audience Jawheads,
yeah.
but I guess it does sound like I'm talking to you guys, but I guess we are all Jawheads.
Everybody here is a Jawhead.
Yeah, everyone's a Jawhead.
Yes.
All right.
As we did promise at the very top of the show, we have a winner of the riddle, the latest riddle, and we are going to pick that out of a hat.
Yeah.
It was interesting because this one, decent amount, but we've seen more people answer it correctly in the past, but a fair amount of names in the hat, Matt.
Well, you know what I like? Watching them come in like right after we drop the episode.
Yeah,
That
it is
the
pretty
best.
exciting. There's no doubt about it. And so please keep them coming in when you know the answers. Also, feedback at any sort that you want to throw at us. Write us at feedback@cinemajaw.com. What we're going to do is we're going to close out. We're just going to pick a winner this week and not read a new riddle. We're going to start a brand new
chain
of riddles in 2017.
Perfect.
So, Matt, if you could please pick out the winner of the latest riddle contest.
I wrote these on little slips of paper.
And if you can always see this, I sort of describe it every single time. Matt's got these like large hands. He goes into there. I know. Put it on Instagram. He always grabs like 5 right at one time and then pulls one out. Go ahead. That's good.
All right. It is Alex from Norfolk, Canada. Congratulations. And he wrote, "Hey guys, the answer to the new riddle is Will Smith. Love this week's episode on LA movies. Great picks from everyone, but I'm afraid you missed a couple of the best LA movies ever, Heat and Pulp Fiction. Those two are my favorites, both stone cold classics." I can't disagree with that, Ryan.
Yeah, we had other people write in that they loved Heat. Totally agree.
Pulp
And
Fiction,
as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Congratulations, Alex, on winning 2016's last riddle. Write us your address, feedback@cinemajaw.com. We will get a prize pack out to you.
No doubt.
2017, we're going to have a whole bunch of new riddles, aren't we?
And the first person to 5, right? We're
I
still
know.
doing that
Still
top.
to 5. I got to count it up. I think there may be one at 5 right now. I'll count it up. I'll count it up.
All right.
To make sure.
Just got to make sure.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Matt, it brings us to a segment called
CinemaWAR.
CinemaWAR works like this. Me and Matt battling a topic each week. Our guests this week, Phil and Jenn, get to play judge and jury and tell the listeners who they think won the CinemaWAR. It's important because we're fighting for 20 seconds of jaw time to rant and rave on whatever we want. Shakespeare in the movies is the topic. Elias, tell the jawheads at home what today's CinemaWAR topic is.
Today's CinemaWAR topic, which Shakespeare movie is better, Shakespeare in Love or Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet? Rye, you'll be fighting for Shakespeare in Love. Matt, you'll be fighting for Romeo and Juliet. Let this love match of a CinemaWAR begin.
Matt, we are talking about an Oscar winner for Best Picture against an MTV version of a Shakespeare classic. I love Baz Luhrmann, but this is not one of his top films.
Right. I usually save my killer point for last, but in this argument, I'm just going to come right out with it. This is not about which is the better film, but which is the better Romeo and Juliet film. And strictly speaking, Shakespeare in Love is not a Romeo and Juliet film. So I would even pick Warm Bodies over it.
Oh, bull. Matt, if I asked you to name Claire Danes or DiCaprio's most defining role, you would not say Romeo and Juliet. However, if I asked you for Gwyneth Paltrow's most defining role, you would say Shakespeare in Love.
No,
and
I'd
that
say
is
Iron Man.
No, you Iron Man. Blowed out your ass.
Pepper Potts.
No, and that is saying a lot when you're talking about someone with her filmography. Shakespeare in Love, buddy.
Keep your Oscars, Rye. You and I both know how many times the Academy has gotten it wrong. This comes down to Leo versus Ben. And I'm sorry, Mr. Titanic, but I gotta go with Leo, Wolf of Wall Street. I'm king of the world, DiCaprio.
I'll say this. It is very rare, though, that in a comedy, and I believe Jen was talking about this, that a comedy wins anything at the Oscars.
Panderer.
Right? And this won Best Picture Oscar, but it happened for Shakespeare in Love. That's so great. Smart, witty, tells a Shakespeare story, but in a creative way that had not been done before. I loved it.
Oh, you want to talk about creative, not been done before? Style, originality, making a Shakespeare playwright in modern times, that was cool and all. But the stylistic choices in 1996's Romeo and Juliet are so super 90s delicious. Guns instead of swords. The MTV vibe was actually a huge plus for me. Plus, they kept the iambic pentameter. This story, the style choices were genius.
All that Baz Luhrmann adaptation was missing was Pauly Shore, Matt. Now, I like Paul Rudd and John Leguizamo, but the supporting characters in Shakespeare in Love are far superior. Judi Dench, Jeffrey Rush, Tom Wilkinson, Colin Firth, Ben Affleck, Imelda Staunton. My film is 10 times more rewatchable and a film that will continually put a smile on your face and remind you that the show must go on.
Do you bite your thumb at me, sir? Ryan, listen, I said it before. Baz Luhrmann is a genius. John Madden, meanwhile, he was the director of that film, in case you haven't heard his name. He got lucky. In fact, what is he even doing directing anything outside of a football video game? That sounds like John Madden. Claire and Leo made me, they brought me to that place. And just like you and I, the Montagues and Capulets, Shakespeare in Love is more like When Harry Met Sally than Romeo and Juliet.
I don't know what that means. I don't know what that means. We are button
I added
heads
it at the beginning.
We are button heads here on CinemaWAR. We throw it to our guests. Jen, Phil, what did you think of this CinemaWAR?
Well, I mean, the Harry Met Sally, that kind of goes into Jen's wheelhouse. So I
kind of go for that. So,
like, I love, like I always say, like the visionary of it. Like, I mean, Baz Luhrmann is definitely the more visionary of the directors. Like, the art design, production design of that film is just like so unique, so amazing. However, I don't like the first 30 minutes of that.
I think I go with Shakespeare in Love on this one.
Oh, would you?
Yeah.
I kind of, yeah. I want to make more of a fight, but I kind of have to agree. I mean, it's Tom Stoppard, you know, the man, you know. So.
I botched my last point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would have had it if I hadn't done that right.
That was the nail in the coffin for you there, Matthew.
I don't know about the nail in the coffin, but whatever. Go ahead, you win.
All right, finally, that earns me 20 seconds of jaw time to
Finally, because it's been like 6 weeks.
You know, it actually, this one just in particular hit me because we're talking about all the streaming platforms out there, and I never know which movies are out there. And it reminds me to go back that about a year ago, Amazon Prime signed an exclusive with the studio A24 Films.
Oh, they're great.
And they have the rights to all their films for X amount of years. And I look back at it now. I remember reading about it and thinking, who's A24? Wow. We're talking Under the Skin, The Witch. The list goes on and on. Literally, A24 is the new sort of Miramax of our time going on right now.
Yeah.
And I just wanted to say, what a coup for Amazon. And go on there. There's so many great movies on Amazon Prime that need to be seen. I mean, one of our absolute favorites on Cinemajaw, Ex Machina, also A24. So
yes,
that was
good.
It's a good studio. I'm definitely interested in their stuff.
Yeah, I like that idea that they sign sort of certain studios, and I think because that's one of those deals where Amazon sort of, I think, helped them out financially in a way. It gave them some security. This is a small studio at the time. Here comes this conglomerate of a studio that has tons of this money and says, hey, we'll give you all this money if you give us your film rights for a little while. And it's a win-win because us, the moviegoers, are still getting A24 output that we want to see. So love it.
Yeah, I mean, Under the Skin. Cool.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely one of my favorite movies.
No doubt.
That year.
That was my 20-second rant. You see, Matt, put a little thought to it, buddy. You see what I'm talking about?
I was just going to tell the jawheads what an a-hole you are. I guess they already know. So.
There you go. Very Shakespearean of you, my friend. All right, that brings us to trivia in honor of the end of the year that we are approaching. Instead, we are going to focus. Everybody is going to focus on the best of the year coming up here. We want to concentrate on the flops this week. 2016 flop movie trivia is the category. Jen, Phil, your guys are our guests. You get to choose if you want to go first or let Matt go first. There are steals, and if you get hung up on a question,
we'll go first.
You get one trip to the ER. Elias Rodriguez does have clues to all the questions. Here we go. Phil, Jen, this Academy Award-winning actor starred in the very little-seen film Free State of Jones. Name him.
Is that Matthew McConaughey?
1-0. What have you known that one, Matt?
Not at all.
Question 2 over to Matt K. Matt, this actor starred in Pop Star Never Stops, Never Stopping, and while it was funny, it failed at the box office. Name this actor.
Andy Samberg, among others.
Yes, we always start them off easy. Here we go. Question 3, back over to Phil and Jen. Tom Hanks played a salesman who travels to Saudi Arabia in this 2016 misfire. Name it.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, I know it.
I don't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah, no. Don't
Nothing?
have it.
Nothing? Splash 2?
Nothing.
No. They got nothing. Matt, you got a chance?
Tom Hanks misfire?
Yes,
Is there
Tom
such a
Hanks
thing?
played
Lady Killers?
Salesman who travels to Saudi Arabia in this 2016 misfire.
God, really? Tom Hanks. What else did he do? God, he was busy this year.
I did see this one.
He was.
Did not review it on the Jaw, however, so Matt probably is not going to know what the hell we're talking about.
It must have been in theaters for like a second.
Anything?
Saving
11
Private
seconds.
Banks.
We were looking for A Hologram for the King. A Hologram for the King. Small movie.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ooh.
I hear the book was supposed to be good. It is still 1-1. Question 4 now is over at Matt. Matt, Rules Don't Apply told the story of Howard Hughes. This time around, Hughes was played by this legendary actor. The movie is still in theaters as we record this. Name the actor.
Really?
Rules Don't Apply. Howard Hughes.
Yeah, I know who he is.
You know who he is.
I do.
Yeah.
He was played by Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yep.
Right?
And this time around, played by a legendary actor.
Was it Ben Affleck? Batman v Superman.
Incorrect. Incorrect. We throw to Phil. We throw to Jen. Do you guys got the answer for this one?
Yeah. Is it Warren Beatty?
Warren Beatty, Matthew.
He's still alive?
Yeah, he's still alive and
Yeah.
kicking. Yeah.
All right.
2-1, Warren. Warren, I was going to say 2-1, Phil and Jen. And this question is back over to them. Guys, Robert De Niro was in this boxing movie that also starred Usher and told the story of legendary boxer Roberto Duran. Name it. Robert De Niro.
We went into sports movies. This is
Usher.
Achilles' heel.
Tells the story of Roberto Duran. Name the movie.
Oh man.
You do have a lifeline if you need it.
Yeah, I would take the lifeline, please.
Whoa! Question number 5 over to Elias Rodriguez. What was the name of that Robert De Niro Usher boxing movie?
Your clue is Fists of Rock.
Wow. Fists of Rock. Does that do anything for you?
It's there. It's on the tip. I know I'm just going to burn time because no, I don't know.
No, we don't have it.
Matt, chance for a steal and to tie this one up.
Hands of Stone? Really?
That is correct. That is correct.
Nice.
Good
Fists
job,
of
man.
Rock.
Wow. 2-2. Matt has tied it up shockingly. Question 6 now bounces back over to Matt. You can take the lead here, Matt.
Okay.
Natalie Portman, Joel Edgerton, and Ewan McGregor starred in this 2016 Western that very few people saw. Name it.
I worked on that movie.
Natalie Portman, Joel Edgerton, Ewan McGregor, a 2000...
They worked on this movie. This is an unfair advantage.
Hey, I didn't know that.
I'm going to go to the ER.
I write the questions. How would I know? Wow. Question number 6. Another trip to the ER. Elias Rodriguez, what was the name of that Natalie Portman Western?
Very similar to an Aerosmith song that came out in 1989.
What Aerosmith song didn't come out in 1989?
Oh, man. What are your better lines? Really?
I will say, come on, don't want to miss a thing, Armageddon.
No, that was the 90s, dude.
Yes, that's my point. That did not come out to answer your
I
question,
see.
bro.
Oh, I get it.
He's brain dead, isn't he, Elias?
The only one that didn't come out in the 90s was Sweet Emotion that I can like easily name. So I don't know. You said very similar, not exactly the same as, so kind semi Sweet Emotion.
I mean, you have some of the worst guesses in guess history. I mean, people have been making guesses for centuries, and no one has worse guesses
With
than
clues
you. No,
like
no
that.
one has worse
With
guesses
clues
than you.
like that.
That is absolutely asinine.
Based on an
Semi-Sweet
Aerosmith
Emotion?
song.
You jackass.
I had nothing. At least I
What are you
went
talking
for it.
about? We're talking about a Western, right? What do you think of Western? Guns.
Sure.
Guns. Anything with guns and Aerosmith. My God.
To be fair, Matt,
Janie Got a Gun? I mean, that was the 90s.
89.
Really? Was it 89? Janie Got a Gun?
All right.
well, we're about to get the answer.
All
here.
right.
He worked on it. He knows
All right,
the
Yes, exactly.
We throw it to Jen. We throw it to Phil. Chance for the lead here. What was the name of that Natalie Portman Western?
Yeah, it was Jane Got a Gun.
That was a shitty clue, and I'm pretty sure that at
No,
least
wait, Janie Got a Gun. Directed by David Fincher.
came out in the 90s.
No, 1989.
Oh, really?
It was the
Like
was
it
the
was on
song.
the
Yes,
press.
I'm looking at it right now. September
Sorry, I
20th,
just trivia nerded out.
Yeah.
1989.
Wow. Matt.
Let's give Matt credit. He did get the Hands of Stone from Fists of Rock.
You're not right.
Oh, man. Unbelievable.
Janie Got a Gun.
Semi-Sweet Emotion.
That should be a new Jaw t-shirt.
Unreal. It is now 3-2. It's very competitive here, so let's not get sidetracked. 3-2. Question over to Jen and Phil. Here you guys go. Kevin Costner, Gary Oldman, Ryan Reynolds all starred in this clunker about a dead CIA officer whose memories are being transplanted into someone else. Name the movie.
I believe that's Selfless. Nope.
That is
No!
incorrect.
Yeah.
That is incorrect.
Was he in two of them then?
Matt, you got a chance for a steal here and tie
hear
it up.
it again?
Listen to this cast.
Okay, all right.
Really, listen to the cast and the premise and tell me how they screwed this one up. Kevin Costner, Gary Oldman, Ryan Reynolds starred in a movie about a dead CIA officer whose memories are being transplanted into someone else.
So you got one good actor and a bunch of
Anything?
jackasses.
You got anything here?
This is Batman v Superman. No?
We were looking for Criminal. Criminal was the name of the movie.
This came out in 2016?
Absolutely.
I have never even heard of that.
Yeah, these are clunkers, Matt. These are the clunkers.
Wow.
These are the flops. All right.
It's hard to imagine anything with Gary Oldman getting to the point where I
Here
haven't
it is.
even heard
Last
of it.
question of the game. Phil and Jenn are winning 3-2. You can tie it up, force a jawbreaker. Matt, this question is to you.
Wow.
This comedy about two couples that starred Zach Galifianakis, John Hamm, and
Yep.
how do you say her name?
Doesn't matter. Keeping Up with the Joneses.
Oh, wow. How'd you know that?
Wow.
That was also a flop.
I watched.
All right.
I watched trailers.
Tied it up.
I
Wow.
thought that didn't even come out yet. That's how sad that is.
Tied it up. Unbelievably. It is tied 3-3. It comes down to a jawbreaker. This jawbreaker is over to Jenn and Phil. Which big name director had a worse flop in 2015? Steven Spielberg with the BFG or Oliver Stone with Snowden?
BFG was big. That was a big flop.
Oh, I see. Big.
Yeah,
Big flop. I see. BFG.
Yeah, I'd have to go BFG, I think. So.
Yeah.
Incorrect.
Really?
I'm joking. Come on, guys. They're all into it. Here's the real jawbreaker. That's a total joke. Here we go. All right. The real jawbreaker is this. Age of Warren Beatty. Yes, he is alive, Matt. Closest to. What do you got?
Warren Beatty has got to be in his 70s by now. I would say he's 73.
Elias, lock him in at 73. Jenn, Phil, this is for the win. What do you got? Age of Warren Beatty.
He's actually like way old. I think he's probably actually more.
82?
82.
You guys are a little high on that, but we still give it to him. 79 years old.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
He's older than you think. It kind of surprised me.
Yeah. 79 for Warren Beatty.
Wow. Okay, well, hey.
So, does that mean we were the winners?
You guys are winners. Jenn and Phil win this one. Yes.
Nice job, guys.
Virtual handshake.
It's been made. It's a Christmas miracle.
There you go.
Oh, man. Good times. Good times. Hate to see these always come to an end.
Yeah.
And hate to see the Jaw come to an end on 2016. It's been a great year.
It has been a great
Thanks
year.
to all the Jaw heads who have been listening. We'll be back. Next time you guys hear it, we'll be recapping our top 10.
Yes.
You had something to say, I see.
Oh, yeah, it's funny.
He's getting really excited over
While we were recording here, I literally opened up Photoshop and took the Jane Got a Gun poster. I'm going to make it semi-sweet emotions. We'll post it on our Instagram. I'm almost done.
Yeah, I love it.
It's pretty great.
I love it. Oh, boy. First and foremost, we got to thank Jenn and Phil. Thanks for coming on. It was a pleasure meeting you guys at the Chicago Comedy Film Fest, and best of luck with the film.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having us. It was a blast.
Yeah, awesome.
Cool.
And
Thanks,
thanks
guys.
for listening to Cinemajaw. You guys commented about, what was that really quick, Phil? We missed one of your, it was Rogues. Your favorite Rogue. What would have it been really quick?
The correct answer was Doc Holliday, played by Val Kilmer in Tombstone.
Oh, absolutely.
Great Rogue, right?
Yes.
Yes. Hey, if you're listening, Phil, sometime and we miss one, write it in. We'll talk about it on the show. So.
Nice. All right, I'll do that.
Awesome.
Very opinionated about top five.
Love it. We also got to thank the best engineer in the biz, Elias Rodriguez.
Thank you, guys. Right after this, we're going to have our Cinemajaw holiday party, which is going to be a blast. And I have to say, 2016, it's been a rough year for some, great actors and, artists gone. But people say it's a dumpster fire of a year, right? But it's been the best year of my life. It really has with my short film, touring around the world and the Cubs winning the World Series, and also Cinemajaw having a very successful year, and I'm so glad to be a part of it.
And let's not forget the Misfits reunion, man.
Pass on that.
Joe Vello will have something else to say about that.
We also got to thank Phil, the editor, who's been with us this entire year.
Yeah.
This was his first full year.
He's passed his 1 year anniversary.
Yeah.
Thank you, Phil.
Thank you, Phil.
Thanks, Phil.
And really for all the work that he puts together and makes us sound semi-smart.
Yeah.
You see how I use semi again?
Yeah. Well, he's not a miracle worker.
We got to thank all the sponsors as well.
Yeah. Thanks all the sponsors and the Chicago Podcast Co-op who help us get those sponsors.
If you like this episode of Cinemajaw, please subscribe to us on iTunes. If you already do, leave us a review there. Those reviews help attract new listeners.
Yes, go to facebook.com/Cinemajaw and give us a like. And also send us some feedback like Michelle did at feedback@cinemajaw.com.
Yes, and we love to post pictures like the one that Elias is working on Instagram.
Yes.
So check us out there. We're at Cinemajaw on Instagram.
We're at Cinemajaw everywhere on social media. Until 2017, I'm Ryan the Movie Guy.
I'm Matt K.
And keep on jawing about the movies.